V'hinei achar shenisboer. Now, after it's been explained, shechlalus neshamas Yisrael, that in general the souls of Israel, hema bechinas mekablim bilvad, they're only a concept of receiving alone. The receivers v'akol mishem havaya, and what are they receiving from? They're receiving from Shem Havaya. Shebitoro mitzvos, that through the Torah mitzvos they receive like the moon from the sun. Imkain, if so, yuvan bizeh or we can understand further, kamo mashal halavanim hashemesh, allegorically like the moon and the sun, shenichlakim liyud beis chodashim, that are divided into 12 months. Shagam shederech klal, that even though in general close nishamas Yisrael mekabli mishem havaya, that the souls of Israel receive from the name of Hashem, Yud Ke Vav Ke Aval Yesh Yud Beis Tzirufim B'Shem Havaya, but there are 12 combinations of the name Havaya. Ulefa'amim mekabli mitziruf zeh, ulefa'amim mitziruf acher, and sometimes they receive from this combination, and sometimes the light they receive is from a different combination. V'derech prat hema Yud Beis Tzirufim. And in particular, you have 12 different combinations, Kamo Yud Beis Chodashim, like 12 months of the year, like the moon's phases is that we have lunar months, and there's 12 of them. Lamata Belavana Shebekol Chodesh Mikabel Halavana Ha'arach Hadasha, that each month the moon receives a new light. Me'ashemesh Kidur, from the sun as is known. Haga, and a comment on this. Uprati hayud beis tzirufim, and the particular 12 combinations, the havaya of the name Yud Ke Vav Ke Mevor b'Sefer Shairei Ora, that are brought in the book Shairei Ora, which explains the different names of Hashem and their meanings. Sof Shar Chamishi, the end of the fifth gate, V'zel Shono, and this is what it says: Ketzad Os Yud. So how is that the combinations? The letter Yud Nosei Gimel Chosamos carries with it 3 seals. Ratzolom Gimel Tzirufim. There's 3 combinations with the letter Yud. V'chein Os Hei, V'chein Os Vav, V'chein Os Hei Acharon Achulu, Ad Kan Lashono. So too the letter Hei has 3 combinations, and the letter Vav has 3, and the last Hei also. And that's the end of the quote from him, from Yosef Gikaktilia in Shairei Ora. But Perush Sam, and in the Perush there in Shairei Ora, Mispar Hatzirufim Ola Keminyan Chodesh. It says the number of combinations comes out to the number of the months. V'ayim B'Zohar Parshas, or maybe the all the letters combinations together comes out to the gematria of Chodesh, which would be 312. I'm B'Zohar Parshas Chai Taf Kuf Kaf Hey Amud Aleph. Not sure. At any rate, in Zohar Chai Sora Be'inyan Memches Tipos Minatef Eden Chulu, it says that there are 84 drops that drip from Eden. Memches Nevim Chulu, and these are the 48 prophets. So there's a lashon ve'elav titof milasi, and this expression is used for a concept of revelation, the dripping into me, so to speak, and that's the drips of the Eden. But Ramaz Sham, and in Zohar and the Ramaz there, Shein Min Yud Beis Tzirufei Havaya. So he says that these are from the 12 combinations of the name Havaya, Shebehem Memches Osios, which are 48 letters. Memches Mailos Shatorah Niknis, which are the 48 levels that the Torah is acquired with. Kad Kod, which is like the pasuk V'samti Chad Kod. That I'll give you these Shimshosayich, your windows out of precious stones. So too you had 48 wooden beams for the walls of the Mishkan. So also the 48 beams correspond with the 48 combinations of Havaya and the 48 levels the Torah is acquired with. And to understand the explanation of this, in a Yud Beis Tirufi Havaya Hanal, the 12 combinations of the name Havaya, they are the 12 diagonals. And what are the 12 diagonals that Chesed goes to this midah and Chesed goes to that midah? The diagonals of each direction of the midos. Each midah goes to three connects in three other ways. So it means that the midos have a hiskalus included one of the other. Hiskalus hamidos ha'elyonos, the inclusion of the attributes, the supernal attributes, chesed v'gvura v'tiferes chulu, of kindness and strictness and beauty and so forth. Like we say, to you Hashem is the greatness and the strength and the beauty, meaning to say that there's a hiskalus of them into you. They're all bottled into you and hiskalus one with the other. We can understand this above, that we see below, with the attributes of the divine soul, with love and fear and so forth, that there's an inclusion of two opposite attributes together, of love and fear, as one. Like our sages said, and rejoice in fear, that in the place of rejoicing, that's where you're also going to fear, both as one. And look what it says in the Maamar. You should know today, that the inclusion of Hagadol and Gibor is from the concept of Vehanora Kel Elyon. That the concept of and the awesome, the Kav HaImtsoi of Tiferes, is what reaches beyond the Chesed and Gvura to unite them as one. V'inyan Vehanora B'Tosef is Vav, and the concept of and the awesome with an extra Vav before it. This is the kav, the line from the Ein Sof that's hinted in the Vav. And it's also the concept of the middle pole in the Mishkan that goes all the way through, again hinting to the concept of the middle, the kav hemtsoi, the middle line. Migdal David, maybe Migdal David. Vav das tes vav sofer merbeis kasav ki gam havav more bekeser. That the vav also hints to keser. Shu vav shel tzior ha'alef. That this vav of the hanora is the vav that's in the aleph. Argan the shono that's in the quote from him. Vav shel ha'alef hu alachson, and the vav of the aleph is in a diagonal. Is the concept of diagonal. So the guvuli alachson. So if we say it's the hiskalus comes from the alachson, so it's the alachson of the vav, which is keser. So keser, then, which means alachson, is the hiskalus. That the alachsonim, the different diagonals, and which means hiskalus, comes from the fact that they have hiskalus keser. Find mashikas b'dibur hamaskil ma'arim v'ma'asem b'dibur hamaskil inyan ha'avos hein ha'merkava. V'chein al derech zeh. So the concept of Mareim or Masem is you have Ofan Besocha Ofan. It's a concept of Iskalus. So to the Avos being the Merkava is that they're the Midos and their bottle. L'chora. So too you have the inclusion of these supernal attributes of kindness and strength. Like it says to you, Hashem, is the greatness and the strength, meaning they're both included within you. Together, now just like love below, causes the outflow of kindness. If you have love, you do kindness. So too the love above. Spiritually, it says, it says, I loved you forever, therefore I drew kindness towards you. So the kindness comes from the love also above. And this kindness that comes from love is called greatness. Like it says, and to this greatness there's no end, meaning the concept of kindness continually flows. That this kindness is drawn to have great forgiveness without end, even to those who are not fitting for forgiveness. Because when you reveal the light of his greatness may be blessed, everyone in comparison is as naught. So I guess what does it matter if you forgive to this one or to that one? Everyone is incomparable. And this is what it says, and to his greatness there's no end. And the other side does not grasp any place at all. Therefore, the blemish that a person strengthen the other side with their sin and iniquity does not hold any place at all. It doesn't matter to this level. Like our sages said, that in the generation of Enosh, that even though they worshipped idols, and they did not get punished, because they were nurtured with Hashem's kindness, and that's the kindness we're talking about here. And the opposite and against this attribute, is the attribute of strength, which is the concept of judgment and confinement. Like it says, the heavens weren't pure in his eyes. It's the opposite, judgment without boundary. That's the opposite of the attribute of greatness completely. So if everything is righteous in comparison to chesed, so everything is not deserving in comparison to this gvura. So they're complete opposites. Nonetheless, with these two attributes that are far away from each other in polar opposite ends, they actually get included one with the other. So through the infinite light, that shines into the 10 spheros of Atzilus. Because the infinite light itself is high and exalted in comparison to all the 10 spheros of Atzilus. And so forth. Like it says, love the islach, that you have any of these attributes. We call ilun inun midos klal, of any of these attributes at all, and as is known. All can be galus nigalus oreins of batzilus, and therefore when it's revealed the infinite light into atzilus, nimshach memela bechinas habitul va'iskalulus, so you have drawn into it the state of nullification and inclusion together. Even in these two attributes of kindness and strictness that are opposites, and this is the intention, and to you Hashem is the greatness and the strength. That they're in a state of nullification to you Hashem, ועל דרך זה יש איסקלולוס בדרך פרט. And similarly, you have inclusion in particular, ובכל השישה מידות, and in all of the six attributes. ולפי שהם הכפולים כידוע, and since they are doubled, as is known, shisha kfulos. You have shalosh imos and the kfulos, as it's stated in Sefer Yetzirah, brought down in Tanya. As is known, beperushini makom iti, with what's explained on the verse, there's a place, the place is with me, when Hashem speaks to Moshe, meaning to say, shemakom kol elvav ksavos, that what's the concept of place is the six directions, Milo, Mata, Mizrachulu, above and below, and to the east and so forth. Shula Neged Vav Midos, which corresponds with the six emotional attributes, the six spheros of Zah, of parts of Zah, V'yesh Bechinas HaMakom Lamailo Lamata. But since they're doubled, there's one above and one below. The concept of it above and the concept of it below, Hem Yud Beis Min Hiskalu. So that's 12 types of inclusion, one with the other. V'nikra Yud Beis Gvulei Alochson, and they're called the 12 boundaries of diagonal. V'ainu Inyan Yud Beis Tzirufim Sheyesh B'Shem Havaya, and that is the 12 combinations that are in the name Hashem of Havaya. That is, for example, sometimes when it shines the light of kindness together with the strictness. So that changes the combination through that. So too, with all the particular 12 combinations, that through there being 12 different types of inclusion, like for example in Netzach and Hod as well, that even though Netzach is a branch of Chesed, Davka specifically, and Hod is a branch of Gvura, nonetheless, sometimes kindness will unite with Hod, Chesed with Hod, even though Chesed, the Hod, it comes from the Gvura. V'Gvura iman Netzach, when the Gvura unites with the Netzach, which comes from Chesed. And this is the meaning of the 12 diagonals. For example, the diagonal that unites two physical sides, Mizrach u'Ma'arav, Milo u'Matachulu, which is the east and the west, above and below, and so forth. V'yuvan gam bechinas pratei ha'iskalulus hazos b'midos shebenefesh ha'elokis. You can also understand the particular unions in the attributes of the divine soul. Dihine. So if it is this case in the spheros above, corresponding with the name of Hashem, so too below in the divine soul you have these midos, that all these six attributes you have in the divine soul, in the service of the heart. Now this love to cleave to him and be blessed, from the contemplation, Bigdula, or Ein Sof Baruch Hu, with the greatness of the infinite, light may be blessed. In the contemplation of how his greatness, there's no end to his greatness, like was explained, that it's infinite. So that type of kindness, contemplation on kindness awakens love. In contemplating how he fills all the worlds and encompasses all the worlds, and how Havaya is exalted alone above it, beyond. Even after creation, which is something from nothing, truly. And just like before it was created, the creation, something from nothing, mamash, truly, like it says, I am Hashem, I have not changed. And that's the meaning of you are the one before you created the world. So all of that, his bonanos, awakens the love. Alzen it can call Seder Tefillah, and on this concept was established the whole order of prayer. In the verses of praise, that we say, praise Hashem's name because He's exalted Allah. His name is exalted. And then in the blessings of Shema, when we say that He forms the luminaries, we say that we talk about how the angels say 3 times, holy is the Hashem, the Lord of hosts. Pirush Kadosh Zeh, what does this mean? Holy, that is to say that even after He created it, the divine light is holy and beyond in comparison, even after everything came from Him. Just like before it came from Him. He wasn't affected by the fact that He drew these things out. Even though this creative process of creation is drawn from Him with multitude of elevations and levels, level after level, until the point of 50,000 yovels, so to speak, of yovels of existence, and as is known, even after the completion of the 50,000 yovels, there's no change, nothing has changed in front of Him. From the state He was before He drew out these 50,000 yovels. And so too now, in the time of creation of the worlds, during this state of elevation, going through the 50,000 yovels, the glimmer that's in them is only from His name alone, but not from His essence and being, because His essence and being is holy and exalted beyond it. And this is what it says, that Havaya is holy, Kishem Havaya, because the name Havaya is the concept of was, is, and will be, meaning to say is the same throughout all of these states. He's not changed by it. And He's called holy. But Kadosh Bitzvos, and where is He holy and beyond? In the multitude as well. That He's high and exalted beyond all the multitude, and that come from the name Havaya. Like we said, all of the many that come from Him. So we say Kadosh, 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 Havaya. So this is the meaning of He's holy, holy, holy. Meaning to say exalted, not changed. What's not changed? Havaya is not changed. In the tzvos, in the multitudes. So that's the concept of the name tzvos. Is Chazal says Osu b'tzeva shelo, that He's a sign amongst His hosts, among His many. Shemechaya kol tzivei tzvos aydei os echad. That what does it mean? Osu, not that He's a sign, but He's a letter. Just one letter enlivens them all. Enlivens all the many multitudes of creations. Aydei os echad, through one letter, like it says in another place. And a comment on this. V'od yesh lomar, and we can further say, a perush, the explanation, the afal pi shekadosh havayat tzvos, that even though havayat tzvos is holy and exalted, meaning to say shenimshach tushaso yizbarach behatzvos, that his holiness is drawn into the multitude, ad sheyehiu heim gam ken kadosh, but it's drawn into them, so they are also holy. They also are beyond and exalted in the likeness of his exaltedness, because they come from him. And this is similar to the statement of our sages, Asidim tzadikim shiomru lifneim kadosh, that in the time to come, the righteous we will say in front of them that holy, that they will have this holiness in them revealed. Or Parshas Berašit bepirush havayat tzvos. Nonetheless, he is exalted even higher than the holiness that's within the tzvos, from the holiness that's in the tzvos. Maybe that's why it says kadosh, kadosh, kadosh 3 times. There's a kadosh in the tzvos, and there's a kadosh beyond the tzvos. Maybe there's also one beyond that. For the third, V'zeu she'amar Razal, and this is what our sages said, Kadoshim tihiyu, that you should be holy, Yochel kamoni, maybe you think you'll be holy like me, Talmud lomar ki kadosh ani, because it says, because I am holy, Kedushasi l'mayla mikdushaschem, that my holiness is above your holiness. Like it says in another place. So it says Kadoshim, maybe that's plural, the 2 kadosh, kadosh, kadosh. And then you have kadosh, the 3rd kadosh, beyond that. But that's just conjecture for now. So too in the explanation of and you cannot compare to him his holiness. That's the end of that comment. And that's why the angels that are like wheels with great noise, that it falls onto them, fear and trembling, and they're grasping in the holiness of the godly light, because they realize it's beyond them. And there are angels that say with love, as is known, and all of this is what we say in Psukei Zimra. And this was all a preface where he says that on this is bonus of Ein Shinoi, Lefanav Yisbarech, and so forth, is found in the Psukei Zimra, and now we're discussing also the brachos of Kriya Shema. And that has to do with the malachim that we talk about and think about. And similarly in the godly soul, when we reach to Shema, when we want to have this love, Shitispayil hanefesh means bunanus gdulas havaya, that the soul is aroused from contemplating the greatness of Hashem, al derech zeh be'ava b'yira, and similarly with love and fear, lifa'amim be'ava niglis v'yira nelma ba, that the love is in a revealed state and the fear is hidden within it, be'halam, in a hidden state within the love. Lifa'amim be'hepech, and there are times it's the opposite, sha'yira begiloi, that the fear is in a revealed state, and the love is hidden within it in a hidden state. So that's a concept of hiskalulus also. And that's a concept of this inclusion of love and fear, like we said before. And the attribute of beauty, of mercy, that is after love and fear, that you awaken in your prayer, Yilmud b'Torah. That's the concept of Torah study afterwards, which is the concept of this beauty, above. Like our sages said, on V'hat Lecha V'yagdula V'gvura V'tiferes. Our sages said, what is V'hatiferes? Zu Matan Torah. That refers to the giving of the Torah. So after the loving and fear and prayer, you have the Torah study, Hagah, and a comment on this, Kitzer. So in the Hagah, he brings a Kitzer. So after we explained that the souls of Israel are called the moon, they receive from the concept of the sun, which is Havaya. Yivar should be Sirufim explained that what's coming from Havaya are the 12 combinations B'Shem Havaya in the name Hashem. B'chol Rosh Chodesh Mikabelas Siruf Echad, and each Rosh Chodesh you get a different combination, like it's brought in Sidurari, in Musaf of Rosh Chodesh. Zeu in Yud Beis Shvatim, and that's the concept of the 12 tribes. Shin Daled de Golim, which are the 12, which were the 4 flags of the tribes. So you have 3 tribes for each flag, and there's 12 tribes, so that corresponds with the 4 letters of Hashem's name. K'modaled Kufos, and there's 4 times of the year. Liyud Beis Rashi Chodashim, to the 12 months of the year, heads of the months. Umehem Yud Beis Mazolos, and there's also corresponding 12 astrological signs. Yud Beis Osios Pshutos, and 12 simple letters. Yud Beis Bakar, and 12 cattle under the Sea of Shlomo, of the Yam Shel Shlomo. And all these concepts of 12, Shorshim Yam Yud Beis Gvulei Alochson, are the concept of the 12 diagonals of direction. And all of this is a concept of the inclusion of the 6 attributes together. And still in the Kitzer, he says, and first we explained Inyan Chesed V'Gvura, the concept of kindness and strictness, Mitzad Atzman, on their own, what they mean, kindness without end and strictness without end. And then we explained the inclusion of kindness and strictness together, whether it's in the service of Hashem, which means to include love and fear together, to the inclusion and union of Chesed and Gvura together. And then we explain the concept of the union, inclusion of the diagonals. We need to understand the concept of the renewal of the month, of the pregnancy of the moon, and with all of this flow of the 12 diagonals. We can say that it says in Pardes that the 12 diagonals are the 13 concepts in the beard, the creations of the beard, that from the concept of 12 boundaries is drawn 13 concepts. Oh, that's the Chodesh HaIbur, that's the Ibur Yor. That's the year, that's what he's saying, is the year when you have 13 months. The year with 13 months corresponds with Yud Gimel Midos HaRachamim. Gam Gabi Mashikasu Bezor B'Tchiloso, also what it says in Zohar in the beginning, Ma Shoshana Ispat Leser Olin, just like the rose has 13 petals, so too we have the 13 Yud Gimel Midos HaRachamim. Perish Bezor Chile Gimel, so it says, it explains in Zohar Chile Gimel, Shem Yud Beis Bakar, that these are the 12 cows, 12 cattle, Vayam Omid Alehem, and the sea above them, the Yud Beis Bakar Nimshach Yud Beis Gvulei Alochson. And the 12 cattle are drawn from the 12 diagonals. Imkin al derech ze shlomer be'inyan chodesh ha'ibur, so to have the concept of the leap year month. So I guess the yam that's above them is the 13. B'likutei Torah meharizal parshas vayetzik kasav ulechein surah alefu chodesh ha'ibur, and from the Arizal and the Likutei Torah says that the aleph hints to this extra month, bein beis vavin kazeh, between the two vavs. So you have, it's spelled vav aleph vav. So in between the vav, the two vavs, is an extra one. That's the 13th. So it's known that the Arizal in Shema, for example, divides he divides the vav into two, a yud on top and a yud on the bottom, or two komatzes, one on top of the other, and so you have a vav in the middle that's divided. So in between the vavs, I guess, is this aleph. Tainu bechinas Yosef. And he's the only one that's from the masculine world. So if you have the 12 tribes plus Yosef, the other 12 tribes are below the Yam, and Yosef is the Tzaddik Elyon above them. They all bow down to Yosef, so to speak, all the other tribes. Shashvatim hayu benukva, all the other tribes were the concept of the Nukva. And that's why Yosef was the Ben Skunim Kulu. He was specifically the extension of Yaakov. Adkan Dvarov of the Arizal. Look what it says about the aleph that's inside the vav. So there in Zohar it implies that it's the concept of atik that's in the inner concept of zah, that's called the vav. So I guess that's also hamshacha into zah. From Kesed. And it seems to me, the Tzemach Tzedek says, that I saw in another place that this extra month of the year corresponds with the tribe of Levi. Ad Kanaga, that's the end of the comment. So if you have 12 tribes plus Yosef, so what's that extra tribe? That's going to be Levi.